Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back for another episode of my random YouTube series. I just do random topics. So, the first episode we did was front loading the day, right? And I told you guys that I'm kind of just going to branch out and not just do fitness or food type articles or videos. These all go along with articles, by the way. There'll be a link in the bio or the description underneath. But they're not just going to be fitness or food type videos and articles. I want to do everything mindset and also describe some experience. Like this article is going to be out about a breakfast that I had with Arnold. So kind of describing some of the experiences that I've had, some really cool experiences that I've been fortunate enough to be able to go through. And then also talk about books that I've read and all kinds of stuff as well. So as you've seen in the title, today's topic is going to be 4 takeaways from breakfast with Arnold. One of the coolest experiences of my life. Of course, when you see the title that has the name Arnold in it, you're likely to click on it. You know he's a GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. If anyone can go by their first name and everyone knows who it is, like LeBron or Arnold, automatically you know that they're a boss. So same thing with Arnold. And sorry, I got distracted. I'm looking out the window at birds. The whole article, though, is about these 4 takeaways that I had at the breakfast. So they weren't things that he said directly, but they were things I took away from listening to him. And that's a key when you're in conversation, especially with someone like Arnold, is to step back and really listen. And that's one of the takeaways I'm going to talk about in a minute. But to really listen and absorb everything that they're saying and not get lost in the moment, but be very present and just really just absorb it and soak it in. So let's get started. So how did it all start? So we were out in California for the photo shoot at Muscle Beach, Zach, Corey G, and I, and all the guys from Old School. But at the moment, it was just Zach and Corey and I. And we were at Gold's training, and Corey and Arnold have been homies for a while. They were business partners together in the past. And we were all training, and Zach and I were in the back of the gym, I think. And then all of a sudden, Corey comes up, and he's like, yo, we're about to go to breakfast with Arnold. We're like, shut the fuck up. You're lying. And he's like, no, for real, though. I just ran into Arnold around the corner. So we peek around the corner, and there's Arnold doing bicep curls or something, of course, right? He's getting the pump. And he's like, no, for real, we're about to go to breakfast with Arnold. I just talked to him, and he wants to meet up because we haven't met in a while, and we haven't caught up. We hadn't caught up in a while. So he's like, all right, cool. So we wait for him to finish his workout, and then we go outside. He's got a fucking bicycle. He rides a bike to the gym, in Gold's Gym, every day, and then he basically cycles to the restaurant that we went to. He's a super routine-based person. A lot of successful people are routine-based. That's, I think, why I structure myself as more routine, because it seems to really just set yourself up for success. But he rides his bike to the gym every day, and then he'll ride his bike to the breakfast place. And that's what we did. We walk outside, and he's like, all right, I'll meet you guys there. He hops on his bike. We don't have a car or anything. So Corey's like, shit, we got to go find an Uber right away, because if we're late, that's not going to look good. So literally, we all got backpacks on. Zach, Corey, and I were fucking just sprinting, looking for an Uber. We finally found one like 5 minutes away. We're just freaking out. So we hop in the car. We thought we were going to be late. Rush to the hotel that the restaurant that he eats at every morning is in this 5-star hotel. So it's a 5-star restaurant too. And basically he gets there, and we're already there. So we're already stoked because we beat him there. He's a super competitive person. So he noticed that we beat him there. So he leads us inside, and you can tell he walks with so much swagger. He's just got this demeanor about him, this confidence when he walks, when he talks, everything about him. And that comes from all the stuff that he's done in his life, all the accolades, all the accomplishments, all the work that he's put in. That's where that confidence comes from. I say it all the time. Preparation breeds confidence, and it really does. And it just shows with a guy like Arnold or LeBron or all these great people. It just shows through them. There's like a glow that comes off of them because they're just such great people in general. So he takes us into breakfast. We all sit down, right? It's this big round table, and it's Arnold, his old stunt double from back in the day that he trains with now, and then Corey and Zach and I. So Zach and I are across the table. We're looking directly at Arnold, basically. It's a circular table. And so the waiter comes out, we order the food, and Zach and I and Corey, we all got steak and eggs because the shoot was 2 days later, so we were trying to keep our carbs lower. And Arnold gets hyped right away. He's like, oh, you guys ordered steak and eggs? That was what I used to order back in the day after training every day. So we're already off to a good start, right? And the food comes, best steak and eggs ever. And just throughout the whole breakfast, he just dropped so much knowledge. He told us about cool stories of back in the day, which I'll get in one of the cool stories at the end. It's about this pilot team he did when he was 19. They ran out of plates for him. They ran out of weight, so he had to go get the weight. But I'll break that down in a minute if I remember. And throughout the breakfast, though, he's conversating back and forth with even Zach and I, not just Corey, asking Zach and I like about our lives, about our training, and actually interested too. He's not just asking to ask. Like, he would ask and then really pay attention to what you would say. We went back and forth. I was asking Arnold about politics because it was during the presidential election. I was asking him about Hillary Clinton and Trump. So it was a really cool and engaging conversation. And he was just a really super down-to-earth guy, a very real guy, very genuine guy, and just nice in general. So it was really refreshing to meet somebody that high of stature in this world, and still to be that cool of a guy. So like I said, this video is going to be my 4 takeaways from that breakfast, and link below if you want to actually see the article. I'm a lot better at writing than I am video. I'm getting better at video, but I get my ideas across better while I'm writing. I'm a lot more fluent that way. So check out the article as well if you're interested. But let's get started. Number 1, the number 1 takeaway was the protein myth. You guys are really going to like this because you guys know I'm not a huge protein guy. Yeah, I think it's important, but in today's fitness world, there's a lot of people out there that are doing anywhere from 2 to 3 grams per body weight. And that, if you're a 200-pound guy, that's like 400 grams. I'm not good at math, but it's a lot of protein. And you got to be drinking a lot of protein shakes to be able to get that much protein. And you can't get that all from beef unless you're eating 30 ounces of beef every day or more. So what Arnold said, though, was he said he was about 1 gram to 1.5 grams of protein every day, which seems to be about where I'm at. That's where I got that from Corey. Corey's around that gram and a half. So I'm 170 pounds right now. So I take in about 170 to 210 grams of protein or so a day, approximate. And that's another big thing he said, too. Believe it or not, he was not an if it fits your macros guy. He didn't count his macros. He was very based on feel, and he was very approximate, too. So he had an idea of how much protein was taken, and he knew how much protein was in most steaks that he ate, how much protein was in the shakes he was doing. So he had an idea, just like myself, but he wasn't actually writing them out and counting them. So there's a number of reasons. We could do a whole other video on why I don't buy into if it's your macros and why I don't think it's sustainable, and why I don't do it personally, and why I don't have clients do it. But that's a whole other story. Long story short, he was all about the 1 gram to 1.5 grams of protein per day, per pound of body weight per day. So take that for what it is. Number two takeaway was don't be quote unquote that guy. So what did he, and again, he didn't say any of this directly. This was all what I inferred from him. And what do I think he meant by being that guy? And I'm pretty sure he was talking about people that talk all the time, no matter who's around, no matter, you know what I mean? So that guy that talks 75% of every conversation and is only listening for 25% of the time. And that 25% of the time when he's actually quote unquote listening, he's more so thinking about what he's going to say next instead of actually being absorbed in the conversation and listening what other people have to say. He was actually he was speaking about someone in specific. I'm not going to drop their name, but it was a common person that Corey and Arnold knew. So it was just interesting to hear him discuss these ideas about someone and how, and everyone knows this person that just talks nonstop, and it's usually about themselves too. That's another really big thing is don't, even if you are talking a lot in the conversation, you may have something you that other people are going to benefit from, but don't just talk about yourself the whole time. Ask the other people about themselves, and you can kind of do reverse psychology. This is from a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's back here on the shelf somewhere. It talks all about asking other people kind of to talk about themselves, setting them up to talk about themselves, because at the end of the day, our names, ourselves are the most important things to us. That's just kind of how we're programmed as humans. That's how our egos are. So if you can get someone else to talk more about themselves, then it's kind of that reverse psychology to where they're going to come out of this conversation feeling really good about themselves, and they're going to like you a whole hell of a lot more than if you would have talked about yourself that whole conversation. So it's reverse psychology, plus you get to learn more about the other person. So there's a lot of benefits. Don't be that guy that talks about himself the whole conversation or talks the whole time in general. If you can be talking less than 50% of the time and listening more than 50% of the time and actually engaging while listening, you know what I mean? Not just listening and while thinking about what you're going to say next, purely at presently listening, you're going to get a lot more out of the conversation, and you're going to have a lot more people on your side as well that really like you at the end of the day too. So a lot of benefits to not being that guy. Moving on. Number 3. Win with Arnold. We already talked about this. Win with Arnold. Get steak and eggs. He gets hype. He loves steak and eggs. It's a classic golden era bodybuilding breakfast. And we didn't even think about it. That was a funny thing too. We were just doing it for the show, or for the show we had, or the shoot. Excuse me. We knew that was coming up, so we weren't trying to eat a lot of carbs. So it was totally on accident. And Arnold was like, "Fuck yeah!" He was just hype. And then number 4, Arnold was a boss, and that was what I talked about earlier. The way he walks, the way he talks, the way he interacts with people, the way other people interact with him. from top to bottom, the dude is just an absolute boss. The most boss person I've ever met in my life. And he doesn't have to say a word either. It's an energy that flows off him. It's a glow that comes off of him. It's just absolutely unbelievable. And again, that all comes from all the work that he put in. It didn't just magically happen. Because if he hadn't put all that work in over the last 50, however old he is, 50, 60 years. I know he's like 70 something, but over the last 50 years, he didn't put all that work in. He'd just be a kid or a guy from whatever country he was born in, and no one would know about him. We only know about him because of all the work and the persistence and the discipline that he put in the last 50 or whatever years. So that's how you become someone like Arnold. It doesn't just magically happen. He's not special for some, you know what I mean? He doesn't have some more sort of special power, magic power. I guess that's another key takeaway, is that he is just another guy. I don't even have this in the article. I might have to add it. Arnold's just another guy, just like any other very successful, not to come back to LeBron again, but just like LeBron, he's just a normal dude. Yeah, he has freak genetics, of course. He's not everyone's 6'10", and can jump out the building, but at the end of the day, he's just a normal person. So a lot of these really high-level people like Elon Musk and all these different people, they may have different genetics, and they may be more inclined to succeed in certain areas of life, but everybody has certain gifts in certain areas. So at the end of the day, you just got to apply the discipline, learn from all these successful people, get the takeaways like this article is all about, learn as much as possible, see what they do on a daily basis, and then mock that and kind of cater towards what you're trying to do. And there's no reason that you can't become great in something just like Arnold did. So not to get all emotional and whatnot. So that's the 4 key takeaways, right? Number 1 was the protein myth. Number 2, don't be that guy. Number 3, when you're with Arnold, get steak and eggs if you're ever at breakfast with Arnold. And then number 4, Arnold's an absolute boss. And then number 5, which we just added, was he's just a normal dude, and there's no reason that you can't do something similar to what he's done. Not necessarily through bodybuilding. You might not have the genetics to look like Arnold, of course, but it could be another area of life, if you get what I'm saying. So follow those, apply those to your life in whatever way you may choose. Take it all with a grain of salt. I almost forgot. Before we go, the story that Arnold laid on us. So he said he was 19. He was at this powerlifting meet somewhere in Europe, and I don't think anyone even knew who he was at the time, but he was a still really strong motherfucker. And what he did, though, was I think he had already done the bench and the squat, and he was tied with this guy. So he had to do a certain number on the deadlift to win the competition, I believe is what the story was. And he got his first lift super easy. I think he got his second lift super easy. So then he made this huge jump to win the competition to 585 or something like that. And basically they didn't have enough plates for him. So they had to go and get plates. I think it was a 30-minute drive down the road. They had to go and get plates so Arnold could get up to 585, and 30-minute drive each way. So they had to wait an hour. So as you could guess, if you ever done a powerlifting meet before, taking an hour off in between lifts and cooling down like that, your muscles get all tight. So he had to do a whole new warm-up and then hop right into it. And you can guess what happened. He crushed 585. He won the competition, and there was a lot of other subtleties to the story that made it even better. But long story short, they had to go they had to drive an hour, get the plates, come back, and Arnold just crushed everyone in the competition. Of course, he wins everything that he does, right? So, long story short, summary of this video. Arnold's a really cool dude. You can learn a lot from him, and not just in bodybuilding, not just in fitness, but in life in general, in politics, and I mean, he was an actor. He basically did everything. He was a philanthropist. So if you like this video, like the video, subscribe to my YouTube page, and check out the article below, because like I said, I'm a lot better at writing. I can get my thoughts out a lot more effectively, a lot more fluently. A lot of times when I do video, I forget a couple of things that I wanted to talk about that I do in the article. So check out the article. Let me know what you think. Until next time, much love. Peace.